Hello, my little poo-poo platters, and welcome to another episode of Dirty Willy with Fulta Burstyn, where we get down and roll around in the mud with William Shakespeare and we find all those dirty parts that he hid away in all those dark corners of his work. Now, up till now, we've been exploring some of the nasty bits of his plays, but today we're going to take a little trip into the sonnets. Now, Shakespeare wrote a lot of sonnets. He wrote about 154 that we know of. I'm sure there were many more that were crumpled up and thrown into the wastepaper basket. But we have 154 of these gorgeous little poems about love, about longing, about regret, about passion. And yet, right here about number 135, we get this strange little sonnet that gets really dirty. And we're going to look at that today. Now, I'm convinced that he was sitting alone in his room one night. He was feeling just horny as a jackrabbit. He didn't have any sort of internet at that time, obviously. So what's he going to do? He pulls out a sheet of parchment, he fills up the ink pot, he whips out his quill, and he writes this sonnet. And let's see what he had to say. Sonnet number 135. Now, I'm going to read it, then we'll go back through and we'll decipher it together. All right? Here we go. Whoever hath her wish, thou hast thy will, and will to boot, and will in overplus. More than enough am I, that vex thee still, to thy sweet will making addition thus. Wilt thou, whose will is large and spacious, not once vouchsafe to hide my will in thine? Shall will in others seem right gracious, and in my will no fair acceptance shine? The sea, all water, yet receives rain still, and in abundance addeth to his store. So thou, being rich in will, add to thy will one will of mine, to make thy large will more. Let no unkind, no fair beseechers kill. Think all but one, and me in that one will. Perfectly clear, right? Yeah, I thought not. All right, but let's go through and let's talk about what the heck he's doing here. So, obviously, he's playing with the word will quite a bit. Now, in Shakespeare's time, there's the obvious literal meaning, which is will, meaning intention, objective, desires, her will, okay? And now he's also punning on his name, Will Shakespeare. So he throws that in a little bit, and we'll find out where. But he's also punning on the idea that the word will in that time was a euphemism for private parts, both men and women. So that in mind, let's go back through and see just what that little rascal with his doublet around his ankles was really up to. So, whoever hath her wish, thou hast thy will. So other ladies can wish for things, but you get them. And will to boot, and will in overplus, and you get a lot of it. More than enough am I that vex thee still. Now he's bragging a little bit here, typical man. He's saying that I have more than enough will for you. So now we know Shakespeare was will hung. More than enough am I that vex thee still, to thy sweet will making addition thus. In other words, here it is, come and get it. All right. Wilt thou, whose will is large and spacious. Now, in one way, that sounds gracious, but in another way, he's saying that, there's a little cavern down there. There's some things flapping around in the breeze down there, and that's a little strange, but let's see where he goes with this. Wilt thou, whose will is large and spacious, not once vouchsafe to hide my will in thine? In other words, can't I just throw my hot dog down that hallway? Come on. Shall will in others seem right gracious, and in my will no fair acceptance shine? How come everybody else gets a piece of the pie and I don't? Here he flips into metaphor. So now, he's brilliant at metaphor, and now we get this lovely metaphor about the ocean. The sea, all water, yet receives rain still, and in abundance addeth to his store. So in other words, the sea's full of water, but the rain still pours more water on, and nothing changes, okay? So it's fine. One more doesn't matter. So thou, being rich in will, add to thy will one will of mine to make thy large will more. Again, this is a little dicey. He's saying, just, tell the other guys to scoot over and I'll just slip into the corner here. She must have been a special gal. And then we get the couplet at the end, let no unkind, no fair beseechers kill. In other words, don't kill me by refusing me. Think all but one, and me in that one will. In other words, he's saying, let Will Shakespeare be the one will that you let into your will. So it's kind of silly, it's kind of funny. I can only imagine what was going through his mind that dark night in his room when he said, what shall I write about tonight? I know, I'll write about my dick and your hoo-hoo. And here we have it, Sonnet 135, proof positive that Shakespeare was a dirty little bastard just like the rest of us. So join me again for another episode of Dirty Willy with Fulta Burstyn, where Will keeps scouring through and scratching the surface of Shakespeare to find the pink bits underneath. See you next time. Oh, that got me a little hot and bothered. Bye.